Hello viewers, welcome back. In our previous session, we have discussed about anatomy of Android project. In this session, we are going to discuss about activities and activity life cycle. Topics to be covered are activity states and the life cycle callbacks method of an activity and what are the different phases of activity life cycle. Now let us see how activities work. So here, every activity in Android is implemented as a subclass of base class activity. In the recent versions, that is app compat activity, where it has a compatibility to the lower versions as well. And every application might consist of at least a single activity, means without activities, it is not possible to show the data to the users, to be say frankly. So we already discussed about the basics of activities in our previous sessions. And an application can contain multiple activities, but at least there should be one activity. And here, one activity of an application, let us suppose you have multiple activities in the application, but only one is going to be implemented or specified as a main activity, which is going to be the launcher activity once the user started the applications. So here, one activity can start another activity to perform some actions in your application. Let us suppose take Gmail or WhatsApp as an example. When you click on a WhatsApp icon, it will show you the list of charts. When you select a particular chart item, it will show you the in detail chart. Inside that, you will find the attachment button to attach a picture or a document or whatever it is. Or I have another icon to start a camera. So here from one activity means that is from your WhatsApp activity, it is starting the files activity, files application activity, or maybe the camera application activity. So here activities in Android works as a LIFO mechanism, last in first out, or stack mechanism, what we call it as last in first out. If you see, when the user click on an activity icon, when a user click on application icon first, so the first activity will be inserted in the stack. So that is your main activity or launcher activity. And when you keep on selecting one on one, so the option when you are going deeper into the activity application, so then the activities will keep on adding to the stack. So whatever the activity has been added recently will go out first, which will move out first. That is last in will go out first. That is last in first out mechanism. So where usually the activities work in Android. Now let us see the different states of an activity. So activity has multiple states. So here we are considering three. Some people say four, but usually it's in high level hierarchy. We have four, that is running or resumed state, paused state, and stopped state. As earlier said, the names or the labels will give the definition in the Android. The running or resumed state, where the activity is in the foreground of the screen and the user has focus, means he is able to interact with the activity. In that case, that activity is called as in the running state or resumed state. And paused state, when the activity is in a paused state, it might lose the focus and it is not visible to the user to interact or nothing, but it might be going for stop. That is the initial phase of stop. A paused activity is not completely alive or dead, so it is still alive in the background, to be say frankly. A paused activity is still alive in the background. So whenever the user is required back, immediately it will be launched or resumed. Sometimes the system might require the memory. So in that low memory situations, the system might close this activity, means it may stop the activity. So the activity is completely obscured by another activity. So then that is called as a stopped activity, or it might be by the system also in low memory situations. So that is where about the three states of an activity: running, resume, pause state, and stopped state. So these three states will happen with the different callback methods. So what are they? An activity can be notified through the various callback methods, that is on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, on destroy, and on restart. On create, which is the must and should method or callback should be called for an activity when you create it. So this particular on create method or callback will be called when the user or when app is created the activity first. So that is why we say, simply to understand, must and should. This method is must and should. Whenever you create an activity, this method will be created automatically. So that we will discuss in future sessions. Next, on start. In this callback method, the user will be able to see something. So it is something is visible to the user, but he is not at all interacting with the apply activity. On resume, in this callback method, or when this method is called, the user or the activity is going to interact with the application or the user. On pause, so when the current activity is being paused and the previous activity might be resumed, or maybe the new activity might be launching, then the existing activity will go to the background. That is nothing but that in that state it will be immediately on pause will be called, where the user cannot see anything, and on stop the initiation will be happened. So in this callback method, or else when the activity is no longer visible to the user, then it is going to call on stop method. The user cannot see anything, but still the activity is alive in the background. So on destroy, so it is called, the activity is destroyed by the system or either manually in the low memory situations, or when you are not using that particular application's activity. So here the finish method will be called. We'll discuss about the finish method when we are talking about the splash screen. Next, on restart. So this is the initiation to recall the on stop method. So when an activity is stopped, and after, let us suppose in here there are different examples we can take. The resources, all the resources might be relieved from the background. Then whenever it is calling it back, let us suppose you lost the internet in the middle, so while you're uploading a file or image to your friend, so when the interruption happened in the network, immediately it will call on pause and on stop. Then immediately the internet is back or the data is back. Then it will start getting the network back, then uploading the file. In that state, it is called as on restart method. So it is called when the activity is being stopped and it is restarting again. We may not call all the methods for every activity we created, but sometimes we may call on pause and on stop. Sometimes we may not call any of these, simply only on destroy with the finish method. So that is depends upon the requirement we will go. So let us see the life cycle diagram. This is very commonly asked question, like, can you please explain the activity life cycle of Android? So this is how it happens. Activity launched, immediately on create method, which is must and should, where the user activity has been started, means it activity has been created. Then that is visible to the user. So it is showing on start, on resume, where the activity or the user can interact here. So in this state, we'll say activity is running. Here, we have multiple options. Another activity may come to the foreground. In that case, we are going to have on pause. So here, app may be killed by the process when in the low memory situations, or the other activities in the needed, means the higher memory priority is needed, then immediately this will be killed by the process, or else it will return back. So to the resume, means it will return back to the activity, that is nothing but resume state. For this, the best example is you're listening to the music, that is nothing but the running state. Then all of a sudden you got a call, automatically the music play will be paused, and you don't want to listen to the music again, then immediately you will kill this. Otherwise, after hang up the call, it automatically reconnects and the music will be played from the state where it has been paused. So next, after the on pause, so the activity is no longer visible to the user. So then immediately on stop method will be called. Again, the same situation at on stop also. The user navigates back to the application by on restart, or maybe the process might kill that particular activity. So when the activity is finishing or maybe being destroyed by the system, then automatically on destroy method will be called and the activity shut down. So these all the things are happening with the three different lifetime states of an activity. So we have considered that into three lifetime states. One is entire lifetime. The second one is visibility lifetime. Third one is foreground lifetime. Entire lifetime, nothing but like us, birth to death. So where it happened, birth means on create, death means on destroy. The lifespan between on create method and the on destroy method is nothing but entire lifetime of an activity. The visibility lifetime, where the user can start seeing it at an on state method, and where he'll not visit, it is when it is not visible to the user at on stop. So the visibility lifetime happens between a call to the on start method and on stop method between. Foreground lifetime means the way user is interacting or the activity is interacting with the user. That is nothing but foreground lifetime. It happens a call between on resume and on pause. It will so forth and back. It will again pause, again resume. So it vice versa. So this is all about your activity callback methods and the lifetime phases and the states. In the next session, we are going to discuss about how to implement these callback methods practically. So thank you guys. Let's catch up in the next session.